Good morning, this is Shelby Law with the Great Basin Smoke Dispersion Briefing for Monday, November 2nd, 2020. The precipitation for the last 2 weeks is shown here with the observed amount on the left and the percent normal on the right. It's been a pretty dry couple of weeks, especially over Nevada and western Utah. We have had some precip over the northern portions of the central Idaho mountains, western Wyoming, and a few little scattered showers over the Utah mountains and especially over eastern Utah. But it has been fairly dry for the last half of October for sure. The satellite imagery for this morning is showing a general large area of a high pressure in place over much of the central and western U.S., leading to mostly sunny skies and warm temperatures for the north and central portions of the area. But we do have this low coming up to the southern California coast, and that's actually bringing some moisture up into the southern Great Basin, which will result in some showers, or is already resulting in a few showers this morning across southwest Utah, and we'll see that moisture hang around in the southern Great Basin throughout the day today. So for this afternoon, you can kind of see warmer, drier conditions across the north, with still warm temperatures across the south, but just a little bit of that moisture moving up, creating some showers across the southern Great Basin. Ventilation rates are pretty high across portions of the southern Great Basin, where we're seeing that mixing as that little low moves in, but values are a little bit lower across Idaho and northern Nevada and much of Utah. Transport winds are pretty light for much of the geographic area, but again a little bit higher across southern Nevada, where we're seeing the effects of that little low pressure moving through. And mixing heights are somewhat lower across the north, but higher again in the southern Great Basin, southern Nevada, and southwest Utah associated with that low. For tomorrow, we'll see that moisture move a little bit further north and east into central and eastern Utah. Shouldn't see too many showers associated here, but just some increased cloud cover and maybe some scattered showers in central and eastern Utah tomorrow. Still dry over the north and west. And ventilation rates improve a little bit tomorrow across Idaho, Utah, and Nevada. Transport winds pick up on Tuesday across the north and remaining fairly light across the southern Great Basin. And mixing heights are highest here in the central portions of the Great Basin, a little bit lower to the north and west. On Wednesday, another generally dry and sunny day for much of the area with westerly flow in place. Those winds are a little bit higher across the north as we're seeing the pressure gradient tighten across the Pacific Northwest and the northern Rockies. We are setting up for a pretty good low moving into the area for the weekend. So we'll see those wind speeds pick up across the north beginning on Wednesday. And still generally light winds with warm and dry conditions across the south. Ventilation rates decrease a bit on Wednesday over Utah and southern Nevada. Mainly due to the lighter winds over Utah and southern Nevada on Wednesday, but increased winds across the north and northern Nevada. Mixing heights are pretty good across much of the area. So the clearing index for Utah for the next couple of days is shown here. Not great values across much of Utah for today and tomorrow except for the south, but by this is Sunday and Monday, but by Tuesday, those values are really starting to increase across mainly the higher elevations of Utah. 3-day precip totals are shown here, just looking for a little bit of that moisture moving up associated with that low coming into the Great Basin. Looks like most of it's going to be over the higher elevations of southern Utah. Nevada will see some of that cloud cover, but doesn't look like they'll get much in the way of precipitation. On Thursday, we'll begin to see that low dropping further south to just off the Pacific coast or the Pacific Northwest, and we'll see some moisture begin to move into Idaho and wind speeds start to increase across Utah and Nevada. So the ventilation rates will be pretty good over Nevada and increasing over Utah with some of those gustier winds moving in. Still quite warm and dry. By Friday, that low swings further south. This is late in the day on Friday, and so through most of the day on Friday, windy and warm and dry conditions will be present for Utah and Nevada. It looks like the cold front moves into northern Utah late in the afternoon or the early evening hours, but will be moving to Idaho earlier in the day, so cooler temperatures and precipitation moving in by late in the day Friday, mostly to Idaho and northern Utah on Friday. So the ventilation rates are really increasing quite a bit for Friday with that prefrontal weather pattern. And then on Saturday, some more moisture continues to move into Idaho and mainly northern Utah, with that low tracking slowly further east. So generally dry conditions still over much of Nevada and the southern Utah. Wind speeds will still be fairly breezy on Saturday. On Sunday, that low still stays in place, kind of centered over central and eastern Idaho and northern Utah, so we'll continue to see more moisture move in. This is really when we'll see temperatures decrease significantly. This is a pretty cold system bringing cold air into the Great Basin. So highs on Sunday, northern valley highs probably in the 30s on Sunday. So definitely a pretty cool air mass coming in and bringing some snow and some rain to mostly Idaho, northeast Nevada, and northern and central Utah. Ventilation rates are, of course, pretty high with that system. So the precipitation accumulations for days 4 and 5 here are really showing that next trough. Here it's Friday through Sunday, bringing in a pretty good amount of precipitation to central Idaho, but also some of the lower elevations of northern and central Nevada, and much of Utah has a chance to see some at least light precipitation amounts. So we'll be looking for this. This is a pretty good fall storm moving in. We don't have really high precipitation amounts, but definitely cooler temperatures and a wider area of precipitation. So we'll definitely be looking for this system as it develops to see how much precipitation everyone's going to be getting, or how widespread it is if it remains this widespread. Then the extended forecast through November 9th through the 15th is keeping temperatures cool across the Great Basin, but we do see a return to some maybe dry conditions across the north, with possibly above normal precip over Utah and near normal chances for Nevada and southern Idaho. But we are seeing a more progressive pattern moving in, with more troughs coming into the west. That will keep temperatures cooler for sure, and we'll just see what it does for our precipitation. This concludes today's smoke dispersion briefing. Please check back on Wednesday for the next update.